What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. The Phillies fall flat again in Game 2 of this series to the Chicago Cubs, and they lose the series to the Chicago Cubs, first series coming out of the All-Star break. And this is where the rant is going to come in because the Phillies, once again, the offense having issues in these first two games, hitting with runners in scoring position. Tonight, they wasted a great outing by Zack Wheeler as he goes 7 strong innings in this game. The bullpen in the early parts of the game, the 8th and the 9th inning, they kept you in the game. Yes, Brad Hand in the 8th, he allowed the bases loaded, but Connor Brogdon came in and got the final out without any runs allowed. Then Sir Anthony Dominguez in the 9th inning as well went 1, 2, 3. You had a plethora of chances throughout this ball game to put runs on the board. The 10th inning is just the icing on the cake for how terrible this game was. But with all the chances you had with runners in scoring position, you could have won this ball game 2-1. All the chances that you had. And then where I saw this ball game lost was in that bottom of the 8th inning, where you have Matt Vierling lead off the bottom of the 8th inning with a double down the right field line, 0 outs. Then you have your top of the lineup up, Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, and Nick Castellanos. What do all three guys do? Kyle Schwarber strikes out, Rhys Hoskins grounds out, and Nick Castellanos strikes out. That's where I thought the game was lost. 10th inning was just a complete icing on the cake and everything fell apart. Alec Bohm, terrible defense, just making boneheaded plays at third base per usual, even though the past couple of weeks he honestly has been really good at third. But then he comes up with these games where it goes back to Alec Bohm is not a good third baseman. He is not a good defender, and we all know this. But it's weird when he has these good games at third base, and then he just has a game where he completely blows up on every instance. It confuses me to the nth degree. It just does. That 10th inning was just, he gets a chopper to him. It bounces. He has to jump to make the play. Bad throw to home plate, which could have taken away a run. But no, the Cubs go up 2-1 in that instance in the 10th inning. And then he has a couple of ground balls go his way, one to his right side to where he can't stop. That turns into a double, makes it second and third. And then he has another ground ball hit right to him. It kind of looks like he hesitates on the play, whether to get in front of the ball or just take it on the hop. And he basically just tries to do both things at the same time, and he completely misses the ball, and 2 more runs score, just add on to the rest of everything else in that 10th inning where the Cubs go up 6-1 and they win this game by a score of 6-2. I could blame that 10th inning all I want. I can rant about that 10th inning. I can wholeheartedly. This game was lost by the offense because you had many chances. Your only run, even though you did score in the 10th inning, I don't count ghost runners. That's garbage time when the game was already over. Your lone run was from a leadoff double by Derek Hall and then an RBI single by JT Realmuto. That was your only run that you scored. Besides that, in total, you went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. 1 for 9. After only going, when you went 0 for yesterday, I believe it was 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. So now you are in these first two games since coming out of the All-Star break. You are 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. And I saw the entire graphic up there too. They're batting below 200. They have 2 home runs, barely any RBIs coming out of the All-Star break. They had a couple of runs yesterday and 2 runs today. So that's 4 runs coming out of the All-Star break. Barely getting any hits. They're walking a ton. That's something. No hits. And it goes back to just all your chances with runners in scoring position. And literally everything else that happened in this game today, I completely forget that Zack Wheeler pitched today, even though I brought him up in a couple of minutes ago. But I completely forgot Zack Wheeler even pitched today. That's how, long those last innings felt, just because of everything that happened. Everything from CB Buckner. My God, he was terrible. He was just bad, especially in that 10th inning where one pitch is in the strike zone, called a ball. One pitch out of the strike zone called strike 3. David Ross for the Cubs, he gets ejected. I guess that brought some life into the Cubs' bats. I don't know. Phillies need something to inject life into their bats. I don't know why. Offense kind of starting to concern me. Kind of. Is it, right now I'm not going to be the overreactive Philly fan and saying the season is over, because obviously the season is not over. You are going to have losses that frustrate you. And granted, this loss and this series loss is very frustrating. And I think there is a tweet that I saw from Bob Wankel of Crossing Broad that honestly sums my thoughts up perfectly, I could say. I'm going to read you this tweet now. So Bob Wankel writes, "Some days you watch the Phillies and you see just enough power, good pitching, and resilience. And then some days when you watch this team, you see a lost right fielder and shortstop, meaning Nick Castellanos and Didi Gregorius at the plate, subpar defense at 5 positions, so you got first and third base, Alec, Bohm'S, Rhys, Hoskins, right field, and the corner outfielders in Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos, and I would assume he means center field because Didi's been fine at shortstop, and Bryce has been a really good infielder, and he's been making some really good plays. So I'm assuming those are the positions that he's talking about. And then you get no production from 5 spots in the order. And it's basically going back to, ever since the Bryce Harper injury, it's been Kyle Schwarber, Rhys, Hoskins, or nothing. But surprisingly enough, Bob Wankel also posted this about JT Realmuto during this ballgame when he got the RBI single, that JT Realmuto has been really good since Bryce Harper's injury. He is hitting 328 since it happened and an OPS nearing 1,000. So I guess you could say the offense has been Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto, then nothing. Because that's basically what the offense feels like. Nick Castellanos, I have no idea what the fuck is wrong with him. I just don't know. I couldn't tell you. He had way too many hittable pitches in this game. Way too many hittable pitches from Stroman, left, right over the middle of the plate, and just pitchers in general coming out of the bullpen for the Cubs. Way too many pitches right over the middle. Way too many hittable. Whiffing, fouling them off, can't time it up, striking out on pitches out the outside of the corner, his basically bread and butter at that point. It's getting old. It's getting really old from Nick Castellanos. It is. Becoming really old. Because we keep saying to ourselves, oh, he's going to get himself out of it. He is. And at the end of the day, Nick Castellanos is not a bad baseball player. He's not. He is not a bad baseball player because his track record shows otherwise. He's playing really bad baseball. Stating the obvious, of course. Playing really bad baseball. He looks completely lost at the plate. We all knew he was a bad fielder in general, making every single play look awkward as hell. There was a play in the 10th inning where I thought he probably should have caught that ball. Shallow fly ball in the right field. Probably should have caught it. Maybe would have prevented a run. Because I thought to myself right there, shallow fly ball to right field. Bryce Harper in the outfield, he makes that play probably. Even though Bryce Harper isn't the best outfielder, he's way better than Nick Castellanos. I think anyone's better than Nick Castellanos in the right field, honestly. But Bryce Harper makes that catch. Nick Castellanos has to make that catch on that shallow fly ball. Maybe it prevents another run from scoring. But seriously, the runner and the timely hitting issue in these first 2 games, and you can go back to many other games even before the All-Star break. The first game against the Marlins, okay, the timely hitting wasn't there, but you won the game. The second game, your offense exploded. In the third game, Aaron Nola pitched a gem. But then you go to those other games before it. Okay, you went on a skid. You lost 2 games to the Cardinals, and you lost 2 games to Toronto. But then when I look at this entire month, and I am looking at this entire month, because the entire month of July for the Phillies, offensively wise, hasn't been the best since from June, even though still overall I do believe they've been a better team. But if I go to this entire month of July, so I got to switch the schedule up a little bit here. So if I go to July, starting July 1st, 5 runs, 6 runs, 4 runs, 11 runs, 2 runs, 5 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 3, 1, 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 10 runs, 4 runs. So there's been, I would say, more games in the month of over this recent stretch because you started out the month of July hot in that first 3-game series against St. Louis, scoring a lot of runs. Then you got the Washington. You still scored a lot of runs. But then when you go to that road trip against St. Louis, 2 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 10 runs, 4 runs. Besides that one game against Miami, you had maybe one other game where you scored 4 or more runs. Your offense has been in a major slump for the past week and a half, and it's got to change. Is it the fact that not having Bryce Harper and Gene Segura is finally catching up to this ball club? I have no idea. I honestly couldn't tell you. Because there are some, like Derek Hall, he had himself a very good day at the plate, honestly. Honestly, Derek Hall has been very good since being called up. He's batting .277. A lot of extra base hits. Had another double in this game. Really, it's just the runners. Like, seriously, if you go back to some of these other games, if you go to Zack Wheeler's stat line, honestly, let's start with that first. Zack Wheeler, fantastic in this game. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts. And the one pitch was a home run. It's just a wasted game for Zack Wheeler, honestly. It just is with the way he pitched. One mistake only. And that was, even though it wasn't the deciding factor, we had way more chances to score runs in this ball game. Because you get the leadoff walk for Derek Hall in the second inning. Then JT grounds into a double play. Bohm leads off the third with a single. Schwarber gets on first with a walk. So you get 2 runners there. Alec Bohm gets picked off during the Kyle Schwarber at bat. And Rhys Hoskins strikes out. 4th inning, you don't get anything going there. Bottom of the 5th, Didi gets a single. Bohm grounds into a fielder's choice. Bottom of the 6th inning, nothing going on there. Bottom of the 7th, Derek Hall with the double. Then JT with the single to score a run there. Then Bryce and Stott with the walk. So you get 2 runners on, but no outs. Didi Gregorius, and this is what I don't understand in this 7th inning as well. For the Bryce and Stott at bat, okay, first 3 pitches, balls. Then next 2 pitches, strikes. Then he works a walk. Bryson Stott basically taking all the way. Only swung at, I would say, 1 pitch, and that was the foul ball, one of those strikes. But otherwise, he was taking all the way. Worked a nice walk. It was a good at bat by Bryson Stott. But then Didi comes up. Okay, takes the first pitch for a ball. Then swings at every other pitch. Then Alec Bohm comes up and swings at the first pitch and grounds into a double play. What is the approach? Because it feels like every single batter, the approach is completely different. It just feels like it. Derek Hall, okay, he got the double. That was a hanging slider. Okay, you hit the pitch, that was a hanger. Then JT, he worked the at-bat a little bit, managed to get a single on 2-1 count. And then you get the Bryson Stott working the count. But then the Didi Gregorius at-bat makes no sense because he swings at literally every pitch besides taking 1 ball. Because you get a strike, foul ball, strikeout, swinging. And then Alec Bohm, fastball. Yeah, the fastball was right down the middle. You got to get that fastball in the air. You got to get that hit in the air. You can't ground it. It was a fastball right down the middle. But it still comes to the fact that why are you swinging at the first pitch with runners in scoring position? Why are you swinging at the first pitch when it clearly showcases in this inning that maybe Stroman doesn't have the best location? Maybe take a couple of pitches, find a better pitch, even though, yes, that pitch was right down the middle. But still, it just doesn't make sense in my honest opinion. Top of the 8th. This is when Hand comes out. Allows the bases loaded. Brogdon comes in, and then he manages to get Contreras to pop out to end the inning. So, no harm, no done there. Bottom of the 8th. This is where it comes to Matt Vierling. Leads off the inning with a double. Great at bat by Matt Vierling. Worked a 3-2 count. Managed to get a double down the right field line. Originally, the count was 3-0. Came back to a 3-2 count. And I never understand this with pitchers sometimes. I just don't. This is just me spitballing here. Well, not even spitballing. This is just me just rambling at this point. I never understand with pitchers where it looks like on the first 3 pitches of the at-bat, you have 0 location at all. 3 straight balls. And then you somehow just decide to throw 2 pitches down the middle of the plate into the strike zone for 2 strikes. I just don't understand how that doesn't make sense in my opinion. And it's just me rambling. But besides that point, he gets a double. He leads off the inning. Second base, runner in scoring position there. Kyle Schwarber at bat. Lefty. First pitch strike. Okay, he worked a 2-2 count. but then he struck out on a pitch inside. Strikes out swinging. Rhys Hoskins, 2-1 count, ground ball out. Does move Veerling over to third, but nothing done there. And then Nick Castellanos takes the first 2 pitches for balls, and then he swings at the next 4 pitches. Next 4. So you're taking the first 2, but then your idea is to swing at the next 4. You swing at the next 4. What is the idea there? What is the approach? I don't understand the approach. It just doesn't make sense. It goes back to the Didi at bat earlier, where he takes 1 ball, then he swings at the rest of the pitches. Alec Bohm swinging at the first pitch. The at-bats don't make sense. The approaches don't make sense, in my opinion. Top of the 9th inning, Sir Anthony, being nasty as always, goes 1-2-3. Phillies go 1-2-3 in the 9th. David Robertson out there on the mound. Former Philly there. 1-2-3 in the 9th. I would like to end it in the 9th, but seriously, like I said, I feel like this game was lost in the 8th inning. It was. Even though the score showcases, the game was lost in the bottom of the top of the 10th, I would say the game was lost in the bottom of the 8th inning when you don't drive in that leadoff run. Because honestly, 2-1 ball games, Sir Anthony Dominguez out there on the mound, I would take the chances there with the Phillies winning that game, 2-1. And that's just my honest opinion. Then you go to the 10th. Alvarado comes up. Okay, the wisdom at bat, that was where, the weird strike calls from CB Buckner, David Ross gets thrown out. Okay, you get the first out there. But then you get the ghost runner as well. Horner manages to steal third base. JT tries to throw to get him out. Alec Bohm honestly made a nice play to keep the ball in the infield. Honestly, if he was able to get a tag there, it might have been out. But it was weird, too. If you're trying to throw to third base, Alec Bohm wasn't there. He was running to third. It's just weird, in my honest opinion. And then you get the Schwindel chopper. Bounced in the infield. Bounced to Alec Bohm. He has to jump up to get it. And he tries to throw home. And throws offline. Way better throw. Probably gets the runner out at home. So bad throw by Alec Bohm. So it becomes a 2-1 lead. And then a double down the left field line on an 0-2 count to Bodie. A ball that Alec Bohm probably could have stopped. Instead, it goes down the line, becomes a double, second and third. And then Morel. This is the play where I feel like Nick Castellanos probably should have caught the damn ball. Because if he catches that ball, it becomes 2 outs, and maybe it prevents the run from scoring. But instead, the ball drops right in front of Nick Castellanos' face, scores another run. It becomes there. And then you get the error by Alec Bohm. Scores 2 runs. The play where he had no idea what he wanted to do. If he wanted to get in front of the ball, if he wanted to scoop the ball, get behind it, he decided to try to do both at the same time and completely fucked it up. I was going to say fluster, but I just decided to go with fucked it up. That's how frustrated I am. And then you get a Wilson Contreras double when Bilotti comes into the ball game, makes it 6-1. Then you go bottom of the 10th. Oh boy, Alec Bohm managed to get a run home. Get the boos and the sarcastic cheers there for him from the Phillies faithful. And yeah, that's your ball game. Phillies lose this series. They lose this game 6-2, and they have a chance to salvage the series tomorrow with Bailey Falter on the mound. Bailey Falter, who is most likely not going to go more than 4 or 5 innings in a game where you really need to rely on the offense. Where the first 2 games of this series, the offense has not done anything. They scored a merely 4 runs in the first 2 games. And people say, we're worried about the pitching. Pitching hasn't been good in these first 2 games. Yeah, Kyle Gibson yesterday was not good. I think a lot of that stuff is blown out of proportion because there were, Knievel had a good outing yesterday. Nelson had a good outing. I think a lot of that's blown out of proportion because Jojo Romero, maybe not to be the best pitcher in the world, especially coming off of Tommy John. And then you also got Garrett Stubbs out there, position player on the mound, allowing 5 runs. So I think yesterday was more on Kyle Gibson because he did allow 6 earned. But then you go into today. You get a great pitching performance by Zack Wheeler. Great. It becomes wasted. And it comes to the fact that I forgot he pitched today because of everything that happened in the rest of the game. It became that crucial. and all the chances that you have with runners in scoring position, it's the offense. Because your team is ride or die by offense. It is. That's how your team is built. And you've won a lot of games this year by pure offense. But also during the stretch, you've been getting good performances out of your pitching staff. You're getting good performance out of your bullpen. Right now, your offense, not cutting the slack. Because, yeah, you can blame Alvarado in the 10th. Yeah, Alvarado wasn't his sharpest. But then, get a couple of good plays back there by Alec Bohm. Maybe only one run scores. And then you have a chance to tie the ball game in the bottom of the 10th. I blame the defense more than I blame Alvarado in the 10th. And that's saying something. That's honestly saying something, not blaming Jose Alvarado. Yeah, he wasn't his sharpest, but then you get Alec Bohm having 3 brutal plays out there. Doesn't help the cause at all. If you go to the lineup today, in general, 1, 2, 3. All go 0 for. Schwarber 0 for 3, Hoskins 0 for 4, Nick Castellanos 0 for 4. Kyle Schwarber worked the walk, but he also struck out 3 times. Like I said, this offense has been ride or die, Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, and according to Bob Wankel, JT Realmuto. And when those guys aren't going, good luck to the rest of the offense because that isn't the way this team rolls, apparently. Derek Hall, 1 for 3. Another good game out of him. His average is at 277, on base percentage at 309, and slugging at 600. So that makes an OPS at, 909? So solid out of him. JT Realmuto, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Bryson Stott, 1 for 3. Didi Gregorius, 1 for 4, but he had many chances with runners in scoring position today. He went over 3 with runners in scoring position. So, yeah. Didi at the plate. Not pretty. Not pretty at all. And the lack of power. Not pretty either. His average is down to 230. Oof. Didi Gregorius. Seriously, Nick Castellanos and Didi Gregorius in this lineup specifically. If I'm pointing out 2 obvious guys on the lineup that are killing you, it's Nick Castellanos and Didi Gregorius. It really is. Alec Bohm goes 1 for 4. Odubel Herrera 0 for 2, then eventually pinched hit by Matt Bierling. He went 1 for 2 in that situation. Like I said, Phillies go 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They leave 5 runners stranded. Didi, like I said, 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Kyle Schwarber 0 for 1. JT 1 for 1. He was the only hit with runners in scoring position. Alec Bohm 0 for 2. Nick Castellanos 0 for 1. And Rhys Hoskins 0 for 1. Looking at the rest of the pitchers, Brad Hand allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. He did load the bases. So Brogdon came in to finish that job. He got the final out with no harm done. Seranthony Dominguez, 2 strikeouts and dominance of the top of the 9th inning. Jose Alvarado allows 3 earned runs, 5 in total, because of the error by Alec Bohm. 1 strikeout on 21 pitches. Andrew Bellotti finished the job. He did allow a run, but one of those was charged to Alvarado. Overall, I blame this game more on the offense than anything. Because you score that leadoff double by Matt Bierling in the bottom of the 8th. If Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, and or Nick Castellanos just get a hit, all you have to do is get a hit, put it in play, get a hit, scores Matt Bierling. He's fast enough. He would have been able to score on anything. You get that 1 run. Seranthony Dominguez in the 9th inning, lock it down. I would have taken my money on that every day of the week. But it didn't happen. And that's where you lost the game. And you allow a 6-run, or 5-run, top of the 10th inning to the Chicago Cubs, a team that is 20 games below 500 in a terrible way to start the second half. A terrible way. After going into the All-Star break, sweeping the Miami Marlins, and we were all feeling good about it. Don't do this to us. That's what I'm saying. Am I saying the season is over? No. I am nowhere near in hell saying the season is over because there's still a lot of baseball left. But these 2 games kind of damper me a little bit. They do. Because we all knew last year with a lot of the games at the end of the season where they played a lot of teams that were below 500. Diamondbacks, Cubs, Rockies, Diamondbacks again. And they lost a lot of Orioles, and they lost a lot of those games. at the end of the year last year. And maybe winning some of those series, maybe could have got you a wild card spot. It doesn't happen. You lost a lot of those series. Go back to the COVID shortened season. All you had to do to get into the playoffs that year was go 2-8 in the final 10 games. You went 1-9. All you needed was one more win. You would have been in the playoffs. Don't do this to us again. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the season is over whatsoever because there's plenty of more baseball left to play. And this team, like I said, Dave Dombrowski, like I said yesterday, they are going to make moves. They are going to bolster this team. And you're also going to get bolstered whenever Jean Segura and Bryce Harper come back. Whenever that is. Jean Segura is taking batting practice now, so I would assume he's getting closer and closer to his rehab stint. Because getting him back in the lineup would be major, because that is a 280 to 300 hitter for his entire career. A big bat in your lineup, add it back. And then whenever Bryce Harper is able to go on his rehab stint, most likely I would assume he would. They're saying he's going to get reevaluated on Monday, and we'll find out from there. But like I said, Dave Dombrowski, he's going to make moves at the trade deadline. Is he going to make them sooner rather than later just because of what's happening on here? Is he going to be overreactive? I don't think so. Let it play out, maybe. He's going to go out there and get another starting pitcher. That's definite. He's most likely going to go out there and get another outfielder. And he's most likely going to get more arms for the bullpen. But you have to, bottom line, with how much the schedule favors you this second half, especially in the month of August, you have to beat the bad teams. You have to beat the teams that are bad. And yes, more times than not this year, you have beaten up on bad teams. But don't start losing to the bad teams when the schedule matters. When it starts to matter more. Because yes, we've been seeing you beating up on the Nationals. We've seen you beat up on the Marlins more recently. You beat up on the Rockies in the beginning of the season. But when you're seeing more teams like the Cubs, especially the Cubs, who are 20 games below 500, when you're playing the Pirates this weekend, when you eventually play the Reds, and when you play the Reds, you're going to see them 7 times in the span of a week and a half. Don't lose to the bad teams. You control your own destiny at this point, Phillies. You control your own destiny. I'm looking at Kyle Schwarber, even though I'm not blaming everything on Kyle Schwarber because he still has been amazing this year and mainly one of the major sources of offense for this team. I'm looking at Rhys Hoskins to go on a hot streak. I'm looking at Nick Castellanos to wake it the fuck up. I don't know what the hell is wrong with him. None of us know. We keep seeing, oh, he's on a hitting streak. Maybe this is the wake up call. Nick Castellanos has yet to hit a home run in the month of July. As yet. His last home run, when we were talking about this in June, Nick Castellanos hasn't hit a home run in June. And then he finally hit a home run on the last day of June. And we thought that maybe would spark something. Nope, hasn't hit a home run at all in the month of July. We're saying the same goddamn shit. Didi Gregorius, where the fuck are you going to do? You started off hot since coming back from the injury, and then your bat has gone quiet because you don't have pop in that bat for some reason. I don't know if it's the knee that's having your issue. I don't know if it's the elbow. I don't know what the hell is wrong. But that lack of power from Didi Gregorius is an issue. And him and Nick Castellanos not providing on a consistent basis is really bad and is really concerning. Bryson Stott, it's a lot to expect from a young guy. He's been good at second base. He's been having spurts of hitting. He's shown us glimpses, but it's still a lot to ask of a rookie. And I'm not going to expect him to come up clutch in every single at bat. Alec Bohm, like I said, glimpses, but he's not a rookie anymore. He needs to be way better. We saw what he did in St. Louis when he had that 2 home run game, when he had those timely hits. The bat has been getting better for him as of recently. And he's also shown when he has bad games in the field, maybe he responds the next day. But Alec Bohm in the field, we all knew that was a huge issue. And today was just another icing on the cake for that. And then your bottom of the lineup, your outfielders. Right now, mainly you've been playing Matt Vierling more times than not. Odubel did get the start today, but, every time they have a chance to go to Matt Vierling, they go to Matt Vierling. So that's why I expect Dave Dombrowski to go out into the trade deadline and get another outfielder that he can possibly platoon with Matt Vierling or maybe get more reps than him. That's why I was talking about Ian Happ yesterday, because there are ties to the Phillies and Ian Happ. There are sources out there. Just seriously, don't do this again. Just stop losing to bad teams. Starting this series, starting the second half, losing a series to the 20 games below 500 Chicago Cubs, it's not going to look good for the fan base for you. The fan base is going to, going to go back to the same old Phillies shtick. And don't prove them right, Phillies. Don't prove the fan base right, because that's the last thing you want to do. Because when you look at the upcoming schedule, like I said, you have a lot of beatable teams. And right now, honestly, let me look at the first half, because there were a lot of bad teams that the Phillies managed to beat. Okay, you open up the series against Oakland. You won that series. First series against Miami. Okay, you lost that. You swept Colorado at home. Yes, you did struggle against Texas. Looking at bad teams for the stretch of the first half, you didn't see a lot of them. You didn't see a lot. April, you saw the Rockies. You saw Miami. You saw Oakland. When you got into May, you played a lot of good teams. Seattle at the time wasn't that good, but you managed to win that series. Seattle has been way better since, but at that time, they weren't a good team. But then you saw Los Angeles a lot. You saw San Diego, Braves, Mets, Giants. Then you saw the Angels, who were in the midst of a 10-plus game losing streak. You swept them. And you swept Milwaukee. And you won a series against Arizona in June. You won a series against the Marlins at home in June. You won a 5-game series on the road against the Nationals in June. Another series lost to the Rangers. Okay, throw that in the trash. Won another series against the Nationals. And you won another series against the Miami Marlins. So, I would say, how many series have you had against bad teams this year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd say 7 at that time. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So out of 12 series so far against bad teams this year, you have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So out of the 12 series, I would say so far against bad teams, and I'm talking about teams that were either at 500 or below 500 for the majority of this year, the Phillies have won 9 out of those 12 series. 2 of those series lost were to the Texas Rangers. They lost one of those series earlier in the year to the Miami Marlins. I was assuming one of those other things is to the Marlins as well, but you got my drift. Actually, 9-12, that's only 3 of those series. So really, the only series that you have lost to bad teams are 2 against Texas and 1 against Miami. The others, you have won. You won 9 series this year against bad teams. So, and also now if you're counting this series to the Cubs, you're now 9-13. Well, out of 13 games, you still won 9. You won 9 out of 13 series against bad teams. So, will that still come to pass? Will that, still translate into more success coming in towards the end of the year against bad teams? Maybe it does. Because yes, the Phillies this year have had the occasional series loss to a bad team. Like I said, they are out of 13 series this year. They've won 9. They've now lost 4. Originally, it was 3, but now with this series lost to the Cubs, it's 4. So for maybe every 2-3 series wins against bad teams, they lose 1 series to a bad team. That's the way I see it, from the way it's going down on this series, on the season schedule. But then when you go down to deeper to the schedule, like I said, you're playing the Pirates this weekend, 4-game series on the road. And then after the Pirates, it's 2 games against Atlanta, and then another 4-game series against Washington at home, and a 3-game series against Miami at home. So that's 3. So going after this Cubs series, take away the 2 series against the Atlanta Braves, that is out of the next 5 series, 3 of them are against teams below 500. The other 2 series are against Atlanta. You got Pittsburgh, who was below 500. You got Washington, who was below 500. And you got Miami, who was below 500. You lost this series to Chicago. I expect way better in those 3 out of the next 5 series against worse teams. Even though I wouldn't say Miami's worse than Chicago, they still aren't the best of teams. Even though how great their pitching is, their offense is not good. They're not a good team. But then you get Pittsburgh, 4 games on the road. You have to win that series. Washington, 3 out of 4 games at home. And Washington is after the trade deadline. So most likely, with all the rumors surrounding Juan Soto, they're most likely going to trade Josh Bell. They're most likely going to trade a lot of people, or more of the veterans on their roster, to get picks back or pieces back. So most likely, you'll be seeing an even worse Nationals team after the trade deadline. In Miami, whatever they do after the trade deadline. And like I said, I do expect Dave Dombrowski to bolster this team at the deadline, whether that's another starting pitcher, which he's most likely going to do with the entire Zack Eflin situation, bolster the bullpen, to move guys out of it that don't deserve to be there, i.e. Familia. That's one. And then adding another outfielder possibly for the lineup. Because we still know, even when Bryce Harper does come back, he is most likely not going to play the outfield. He's going to go right back to that DH spot. So most likely, he's going to add another outfielder. That's what I would expect. But like I said, you need to win series against bad teams. You've won majority of the series this year. Like I said, out of the 13 series this year against bad teams, you are 9 for 13 in winning those series. You've lost 4 series. So I would expect you to come out way better against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But before the Pittsburgh Pirates, you have another game tomorrow at 12 in the afternoon against this Cubs team for a chance to salvage. And I will be very mad if you get swept. I'll still be mad if you find a way to salvage the series, even though you got to find a way to win. I would still be upset, but that's something to look forward to maybe look in a positive more direction. But if you get swept, it's a whole different story. But then after this Cubs series, you have a 3-game set at home against Atlanta. And starting out the second half cold against Chicago, ooh, imagine playing Atlanta right after. And that's exactly what you're doing. So you better be ready for tomorrow, because you're going to need everything you can for the Braves. You're going to need everything you can. Because that series against Atlanta, you're going to have Ranger Suarez, Aaron Nola, and Kyle Gibson out there on the mound. And just looking at the scores around the league, yesterday, you got the benefit of St. Louis losing to Cincinnati. Today, you don't get that benefit. You do not get that benefit whatsoever, because they beat Cincinnati today. So, like I said, win series that favor you. Win series against teams that you should beat. You've done that more times than not this year. Continue to do that. Don't prove people right. Start to win these series when the time matters. And the time is really starting to matter, because it is the second half. And starting it off, not a good look. Not a good look right now, losing the series to Chicago. Really not. So, you have to be way better. Way better. Before I end it off, get into the live feed here, because I've seen some people talking basically throughout the entire time. I have not shut up. So we see Scott. Why couldn't Seranthony Dominguez not come out for a second inning? He only threw 11 pitches in a ninth. It's what they didn't win the entire year with him, so I wouldn't expect him to come out. Great extra inning strategy by the Cubs. Hit the ball to Bohm by Sean Fitzpatrick. He says again, beating the same drum we've been beating all year. If you strike out a ton and can't field your position, you can't and won't win games consistently. Dare I say the freaking Cubs sweep this team tomorrow? The team is not ready for prime time. We'll find out. Scott, even with Hall's double, the top 4 goes 1 for 14, 7 strikeouts. That will not win many games. Exactly. Marcus Stroman pitched more games during the year against the Phillies, he'd be a Cy Young candidate. Scott said he's been a Bohm man all year, and he's just at loss to explain how he played today. What was he thinking about? Couldn't tell you. Nick Castellanos is 132 out of 158 qualified batters with his OPS. I saw that stat earlier. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good what Nick Castellanos is doing or what he's not doing. 30 games against the 4 worst teams in the National League, and this is how they're playing. Like I said, they've won more series this year than not against teams that are below 500. Will they continue to prove that? If the math keeps up, hopefully. The Phillies have still, yeah. and then you see, sorry, beat you the bun. But yeah, it's basically like I said. You got to win series. That's basically the bottom line because that's how much the schedule favors you this part of the year against so many teams that are below 500. So many teams. So many teams. And you have a way too good of a chance to pass up. And you cannot fault on that. You cannot fall on your ass. You just can't. And like I said, Nick Castellanos and Didi Gregorius, them not doing much is really hurting your offense. It really is. Because like I said, it's been Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, and JT Realmuto, and basically nothing. And that has been it. And when those guys aren't hitting, to the rest of the lineup. Maybe look at the occasional where people in the bottom of the order are hitting. You look at the occasional Didi Gregorius RBI. But most of the time, it's nothing. Nothing. So, I think that's where I'm going to leave it off tonight. If the Phillies lose tomorrow and get swept by the Cubs, we have a lot more things to say. But if they salvage tomorrow's series and the offense wakes up, maybe I'll have a better taste in my mouth. But I'll still have a very sour taste regardless losing this series. So we'll find out tomorrow afternoon, early one, 12 o'clock, Peacock. We'll find out how everything's going to go down. So, it's going to do it for this episode, everyone. I thank you, everyone, for joining the feed. As always, do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to read those. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description below. Painted Lines, BrodesMedia. I definitely recommend all of that. I also recommend hitting the like button and also hitting the subscribe button. It'll do wonders, 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 wonders. Join the family here. And also use the code TTPSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. It's a great deal. Don't pass it up. Voids the fees, and you can use it for basically anything you can think of. Don't pass it up. Use that code TTPSPORTS at SeatGeek. And thank you, everyone, like I said, for joining the live stream. And I will see you next time.